بقية الله يا صاحب العصر والزمان بمصابكم بجدكم أبي عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ومولاي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى آلك المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة يا صريع الدمعة الساكبة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة تبكيك عيني لا لأجل مثوبة لكنما عيني لأجلك يا باكيا يا My eyes cry for you, O Husayn, not just for reward, but because my eyes want to shed tears for you. تبتل منكم كربلاء بدمين ولا تبتل مني بالدموع الجارية. How is it possible that Karbala is watered by your blood, yet I am unable to console you, O Husayn, with the tears of my eyes. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And when the companions and the family members of Husayn were killed and none of them remained alive, Husayn called for the dress of Rasulullah. He put it on him, then he wore over it the shield and the armor of the battle, took his sword, mounted his horse. Then he went towards the people and said to them, "Ala ma tuqatilunani? Why are you fighting me? Is it because I have abandoned a certain truth? Or is it that I changed one of the laws of Allah? Or is it because I altered one of the ways of Rasulullah?" They replied, "None of this, but we fight you out of spite and hatred to your father Ali, who killed our masters and our leaders in Badr and Hunayn." When he heard what they had to say, he cried and he began to attack them left, right and center while they were running in front of him like a scattered locust. Then he would return back to his original place and repeat the phrase, "La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim." فصاح Amr ibn Sa'ad cried out, "Woe unto you! Do you know who you are fighting? You are fighting the son of Ali, the one who severed the Arabs. Attack him from every side." So they began to attack him. while he repels them like an angry lion. He would not chase any one of them except that he would kill him. Then they formed a barricade between Husayn and his family members. He cried out, Ya Shi'ata Ali Abi Sufyan, O Shia of Abu Sufyan, if you do not have religion and you do not have fear of the hereafter, at least be free in your world and go back to your lineage if you are so as you say, Arabs. Shibrur al-Jawshan called out towards Husayn without any respect and said to him, what are you saying, O son of Fatima? He said, I am telling you that the fight is between you and me, and my womenfolk has nothing to do with this fight, so do not go near them and come and fight me one-on-one. Shamar then called on his companions and said, do not go near his womenfolk and go and fight him, for surely he is an equal person to be fought. Then the people stood up, looking at Husayn what he does. At that moment, the riwayah says, the angel descended from heaven in order to grant Imam Husayn victory. But he did not allow them to fight along his side. Then he looked towards his right hand, and then he looked towards his left, but he could not find any of his companions except those who have laid down on the ground, and death has severed the relationship between Husayn and his companions. So he called them out, saying, O warriors of true caliber, why am I calling on you, though you do not respond to me? Are you crying? Are you sleeping that you do not heed the call of your Imam? Or is death prevented you from responding to my call? Surely this world is a betraying one, for I am sure if you had the ability and death has not severed your relationship with me, you would never be negligent of your support to me. Then your Imam began to say, Ya Muslim ibn Aqil, Ya Hadi ibn Urwa, Ya Habib ibn Mudahir, Ya Zuhair, Ya Burair, wa Gurbata, wa Qillata Nasira. Then he called towards Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, saying, where is this warrior of mine, the standard bearer of my army? Where are those who gave their lives in defense of their master? بالأمس كانوا معي واليوم عني قد رحلوا. Yesterday they were my companions, and today that had abandoned me and left towards another world. It bereaves you, O mu'mineen. At that stage, Imam Husayn raised his voice high and said, Ala hal min nasirin yansuruni. هل من معين يعينني? Is there anyone who will give me his victory and help? فخرج زين العابدين, Imam Zain al-Abidin, the sick Imam, the ill Imam in Karbala, stood up towards the door of the tent, trying to carry his sword, while Kulthum crying from behind him, "Oh, my nephew, come back." He said to her, "Oh, Auntie Kulthum, let me fight before my father and the grandson of Rasulullah." Husayn said, "Oh, my sister, take him back so that this earth would not remain empty from one of the progeny of Rasulullah." Then Imam Husayn himself came. He hugged his son, Imam Zain al-Abidin, and took him back to the tent. He said, "My darling son Sajjad, what are you trying to do?" He said, "Oh, Father Husayn, when I heard you saying, 'Is there anyone who will give me his support?' my heart broke into pieces and my soul nearly left my body." Imam Husayn said to him, "Oh, my darling son Sajjad, you are sick, and there is no blame on the sick to perform jihad, and you are the proof of Allah over the people after me, and you are the father of imams and the guarantor over the orphans, and you are the support of the widows, and the one who will take back my family to Medina." Listen to what Zain al-Abidin said to his father Imam Husayn. He said, "Oh, father, so I see you killed while I'm looking at you. I would rather this would take me first than to see you die in front of my eyes." Then Imam Husayn left him in the tent after he secured that he would not leave the tent again. Then Imam Husayn went towards the tents of the special Tahirat and pure womenfolk from the progeny of the Prophet, and he began to call them one by one. Ya Zainab, Ya Sukaina, Ya Fatima, Ya Kulthum, peace be upon you from me, for this is the last farewell, and soon you will be bereaved by my martyrdom and death. Their voices began to rise high with crying, and they said to the Imam, "Al-Wada, Al-Wada, Al-Firaq, Al-Firaq, farewell, farewell, oh Husayn." At this stage, his darling Sukaina came. She said, "Oh, my father Husayn, are you going to surrender today? Who shall I then seek hope in and protection under?" He said, "Ya Nur Aini, oh, the light of my eyes, how can I not surrender to death when I have no helper and no support?" She said, "Then Abba, oh Baba, take us back to the sanctuary of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi He said, Hayyan, it is impossible, my daughter. There is no way or return at this stage to the city of your grandfather, Rasulullah. Then she said to him, oh Father Husayn, I saw you in the tent of Subalaya, mother of Hamida. What you did to Hamida bint Muslim when the news of the killing of her father reached you. You took your hand and you wiped it over her hair and you drew her close to your chest. Oh Hussein, my father, please do the same to me. Do the same to me as you did to Hamida, for soon I shall be your orphan daughter. Imam Husayn drew her close to his chest. He wiped his hand over her hair, wiped away her tears, while he is saying to her, oh my darling Sukaina, your cries will be long and your suffering will be eternal. The womenfolk began to cry loudly. Then Imam Husayn said to Sukaina, please, oh my darling daughter, do not kill me with your tears. You have caused a burn in my heart and soul with your flowing tears. Then Imam Husayn called all the women in one tent and he began to console them and give them glad tidings. And he said to them, do know that Allah will protect you and guard you and save you from your enemies. And your affairs by Allah's will be good, and Allah will send adab on your enemies, and He will reward you for your patience with all sorts of blessings. So do not complain to Allah with your tongues, so your reward will not be diminished. Then he said to them, make sure you put on your clothes and your hijabs and cover your faces. Zainab said, oh Hussein, why are you saying this? He said, because soon, oh my darling sister, you will be led like servants and slaves, while you will be beaten by the whips of your enemies. Zainab cried out, Wa Jadda, Wa Muhammada, Wa Aliya, Wa Qillata Nasira. Imam Husayn consoled her and said to her, take refuge in the tents. Zainab said, my darling Husayn, give me a minute so I can take some of your blessings. She hugged him, she kissed his hands and legs, and she said to him, may my soul be your sacrifice, oh my darling Husayn. Then all the women surrounded Imam Husayn, began to kiss his hands and feet, while Imam Husayn tries to console them, and he would ask them not to cry. Ultimately, he returned them all to the tents. Then he called Zainab out And he said, remain patient. You are the leader after me. There is a task ahead of you to console the women and the children, and Allah shall reward you immensely. Now your heart is going to be broken, brothers and sisters. Imam Husayn called for someone to give him his horse. But who will bring the horse to Imam Husayn when all his companions have died? And most of his family members. Zainab heard her brother saying, هل من يقدم إلي جوادي? Is there anyone who will present my horse to me? She came out and she took the horse. While she's taking the horse to Imam Husayn, she said, what an audacious sister that she brings the horse of death by her own hands to her own brother. Then she said to him, oh, the joy of my life and the light of my eyes, who are you calling to bring your horse to you? You know there is no one to respond to you. Imam Husayn took the horse from her, he mounted it, and while he was going towards the enemy line, he heard the voice of Zainab saying to him, Mahlan, Mahlan, slowly, slowly, Ibn al-Zahra. Imam Husayn looked behind, he saw Sayyida Zainab running after him. And saying to him, Ya Nur Aini, O light of my eyes, may I be your sacrifice. He said, oh Zainab, what brings you out of your tent? She said, I remembered my mother Fatima. When she was dying on her deathbed, she hugged me and said, oh Zainab, when the time comes and your brother Hussein wants to go and fight, stop him a while and kiss him where his neck would be severed and where the arrow would land on his heart. So Imam Hussein dismounted. He opened his shirt. Zainab began to kiss his neck and chest and said, this is the wasiyah of our mother Fatima. She kissed him. She bid him farewell. Then Imam Hussein went towards the enemy line. He would attack them, and every time he would attack them, they would fly away from him, and he would make a path for himself among them to kill them from right and left. Then he carried towards, or he began his attack towards the right hand side and began to repeat the following word: Al-Mawt khayrun min rukub al-'ari wal-'aru awla min dukhul al-nari. Surely death is better than shame, and shame is better than entering hellfire. But my God, neither this or that will happen to Husayn ibn Ali. Then he attacked the left-hand side while he is saying, Ana al-Husayn ibn Ali. آليت أن لا أنسني أحمي عيالات أبي أمضي على دين النبي. I am Hussein, son of Ali. By God, I made an oath not to give up. to protect the children of my father and to remain on the religion of my grandfather. They began to throw arrows and rocks at him until his shield became like a bear with thorns. He stood out for a while to take respite. While he was standing mounting his horse, someone hit him with a stone on his forehead. The blood began to pour out. He took his dress to wipe the blood. His chest was bare by now. The enemies could see the chest of Husayn. Someone threw a three-headed arrow on the heart of Husayn. The arrow fell on his chest, only to penetrate his heart. It bereaves you, O mu'mineen, that Imam Husayn began to say, Bismillah, wa billah, wa fi sabilillah, wa ala millati Rasulillah. Then he raised his head towards heaven and he said, Ilahi, my Lord, you know that these people are killing the only grandson of your prophet, and there is no one on the face of this earth to make such a claim. Then he took the arrow from his back. The blood began to pour out like rainwater gushing out from a gutter. Then he placed his hand under the wound. When it was filled, he threw it towards heaven. Imam al-Baqir said, not a single drop fell down. Then he placed his hand again under the wound. When it was filled, he smeared his face and his beard with the blood. And he said, this is the way I shall remain until I meet my grandfather Rasulullah. On the day of judgment, I say to him, Ya Rasulullah, so-and-so killed me and so-and-so killed me. It bereaves you, O mu'mineen. At that moment, a person la'een by the name of Salih ibn Wad took a lance and he placed it on the side of Imam Husayn. He fell to the ground from his horse on his right cheek while he's repeating the words Bismillah wa billah wa fi sabilillah wa ala millati rasulih. Then he began to gather the sand under him. He turned that sand into a pillow. Then he placed his cheek on it, began to pray to Allah, repeating the following famous prayer, Ilahi ridan biridak, sabran ala qadaik, wa bala'ik. Oh Allah, if this is what you have willed, then it pleases me. Patient I am over what you have destined for me. Oh Allah, la ma'buda siwak, there is no one worthy of worship but you. Aghithni ya ghiyas al-mustaghin. Come to my rescue, O the one who grants rescue to those who are in need. Then he tried to stand up to continue fighting. He couldn't stand up. He began to cry profusely, and then he called out towards Medina, Wa Jeddah, Wa Muhammad. محمدا وابتاه وعليا وغربتا وقلة ناصرا. Would I be killed, oppressed, while my grandfather is Rasulullah? Would I be killed thirsty, while my father is Ali al-Murtada? Would I be killed with my sanctity taken from me, while my mother is Fatima al-Zahra? Zainab heard him. She came out of the tent while crying, Wa akha, Wa Husayna, Wa Sayyida. If only the heaven would come tumbling down on earth, and every mountain would wither away. Today my grandfather died. اليوم مات جدي. اليوم مات أبي. This day my father, my grandfather really died. Today my father really died. Today my mother Fatima died. Then she looked towards Umar ibn Sa'd. She said, oh, woe unto you, O Umar. Would Abu Abdullah be killed while you are watching him? He did not respond to her. Then Zainab said, woe unto you, is there not one single Muslim among you? No one answered her. Then she went towards the battlefield. Once she stands, the other she falls down to her face, while taking and scooping the earth and putting the sand on her head, alone among strange men, until she came to the body of her brother Husayn. She threw herself on him and she began to say to him, are you really Husayn, my brother? Are you really Husayn, the son of my mother? Oh, our refuge, what happened to you? Oh, our hope, why are you wounded so much? And Husayn does not respond to her because he was so wounded and the blood coming and gushing out of his body. Then she said to him, she sat next to him, she placed his back on her chest, and then she hugged him and said the following word to him, بحق جدي رسول الله إلا ما كلمتني. By the right of my grandfather that you speak to me. He did not respond to her. Then she said to him, بحق أبي أمير المؤمنين إلا ما كلمتني يا حشاشة مهجتي كلمني يا شقيق روحي. By the right of my father Amir al-Mu'mineen, talk to me. You are the apple of my heart, the light of my eyes, the twin of my soul. He did not reply to her, but he could not resist the following name. She said to him, بحق أمنا فاطمة. That name is too dear to Imam Husayn Salamullah alayhi. When she said, by the right of our mother Fatima, that you speak to me, he turned towards her. He said, oh darling Zainab, you have broken my heart more than what I'm already suffering. Why are you taking the name of our mother Fatima at this stage of the battle? I ask you by Allah that you keep it down and remain tranquil and peaceful. She cried out, Wa wayla, O son of my mother, how can I remain quiet and tranquil while you are in this condition? the pain of death. May my soul be your sacrifice. May my existence be your protection. Then Umar ibn Sa'd called towards his companions and said to them, go down and sever the head of Husayn. A man came down to him by the name of Umar ibn al-Hajjaj or Amr ibn al-Hajjaj to kill Imam Husayn. But when he looked him in the eyes, he started to run away. Umar said, woe unto you, why did you run away from Husayn? He said, when I looked into his eyes, I saw the eyes of Rasulullah. Then Sheikh ibn Rabi'i came down to kill Imam Husayn. His hand began to tremble. He threw the sword away and began to run. Then Shimr ibn al-Jawshan came towards Husayn. Wallah, I don't know how to say the following words. He hit Zainab with his whip on her shoulder. She felt the heat of the sweep on her hands. While she was sitting down, she looked towards Dhil Jawshan and she said to him, oh Shimr, give him some time so his daughter Sukaina can come to him. And bid him farewell. It bereaves you, O mu'mineen. He swore at her. He abused her. And then you know what he did? He smacked her on her face. She fell to her side. Then he came to Husayn. I don't know if you have the heart to hear this. He kicked Husayn with his leg and sat on his chest. Allahu Akbar. He kicked Husayn with his legs and sat on his chest. When Imam Husayn felt the heaviness on his chest, he opened his eyes. Normally, brothers and sisters, when someone is dying, and because of the pain of death, he may go into a swoon or subconsciousness. But then, if his mother is alive, or his father, or his siblings, or his children, they come to him, they comfort him. When he opens his eyes, he sees his family members. He sees his mother. He would see his father. He would see his children. But your Imam saw a Shimr sitting on his chest. Not only sitting on his chest, but he took hold of his beard. He took hold of his holy beard. And then he hit, can you hear this? I don't know if you can bear this. And he hit Imam Husayn 12 times on his head with the back of the sword. It believes you, O mu'mineen. Then he took the sword and he severed the head of Imam Husayn. May Allah say, Rahimallah, may Allah have mercy, repeat after me and with me, Wa Husayna, Wa Husayna. With me, Wa Husayna, Wa Imama, Wa Gharima, Wa Shahida. It doesn't end there, brothers and sisters. I will conclude very soon. After Imam Husayn's head was severed, Umar ibn Sa'ad called 10 horsemen to mount their horses, Allahu Akbar, to change the hooves of their horses into new ones. They did that, then they came to the body of Imam Husayn. They began to trample over the body of Imam Husayn. Imam Zayn al-Abidin says, when I came to bury the body of my father Husayn, his chest had stuck to his back. Allahu Akbar. There was no more ribs, brothers and sisters. The body of Imam Husayn was flat on the plains of Karbala. Before that, when the horses came to crush the body of Imam Husayn, Sayyidah Zainab heard the crushing of glass. She went to the tent of Imam Zayn al-Abidin. She said, where is this noise coming from? There is no glass in all of Karbala. He said, oh auntie, help me to the door of the tent. She carried Imam Zayn al-Abidin. He opened the door to the tent. He saw that this noise was the crushing of the bones of his father Husayn ibn Ali. ألا لعنة الله على أمته قتلت ابن بنت نبيها. May Allah hold away His mercy on a nation that had killed the grandson of its prophet. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أيام منقلب ينقلبون. Brothers and sisters, quickly, there is someone, I just received the news, someone has been diagnosed with cancer. If we can pray for him and all those mariz who are suffering بحق الحسين, بحق مريض كربلاء الإمام زين العابدين, by the right of Ali al-Asghar, by the right of Ali al-Akbar, by the right of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, 5 times from your precious time and the sincerity of your heart with the loudest of your voices. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ. 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 Last time. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. بحق محمد وآل محمد وبحرمة الفاتحة مع الصلوات. اللهم صل على